Hello and welcome. I'm Wilcol. Well, I'm streaming as Wilcol on Twitch and recording this for YouTube, where it will be uploaded to Wilcol 100. Today we're going to be playing Victoria 3 as the Great Qing. The last recording of this that I tried to record about 4 days ago, we were on patch 1.9.2. Some stuff did change in the meantime that affected the balance, and we'll be trying to take advantage of some of that in this patch, or in this run. Arguably, looking back at where we were on the previous patch, there was a cheese that would have done what we were trying to do where we're getting stuck. So we're going to start over on the new patch, just because it's going to make it a little bit easier to do what we were doing without having to use objective cheese. On the other hand, we're going to be otherwise running default settings here for the Great Qing running here. Where our goal, well, my goal is to see how quickly and how high I can get in the GDP of Great Qing. I did a run like this on the previous patch. By the previous patch, I mean the previous major patch. 1.8.7 was the actual match number. So we can compare this to that run. With that, we know we're on the basic settings. We're going to go to Great Qing, so let's get into the game proper. So like in the previous couple runs, we're going to do basically the same sort of process. We're going to start Romanticism. It's going to be Romanticism into Stock Exchange, into Colonialism. Then we're going to work towards Line Infantry. So we can do a timing attack on Russia to take their eastern seaboard. That wasn't quite enough in the previous run, 1.9.2. That didn't work out. We had 3 bloopers on Recognition War. But the changes to the Embassy Treaty will make it a way that we can make that work. So we should be able to succeed there. And then after that, we'll be making the run down to railroads. We're going to do a pretty similar cycle to what we did last time with construction. We're going to do all the construction sectors in Beijing, all the construction sectors in our trade port of Western Gudong, Shaanxi, Hebei, and Yunnan. It's going to be our early construction there. Or... oops. That could be fine now. We're going to go ahead and suppress the absolutism movement. When the peasant movement comes up, we're going to bolster that. For early decrees, we are going to do good old road maintenance walk, where we have 2 road maintenances and we just move them around so that we can get the 10% construction efficiency on everything we apply it to. Yeah, I don't think there's any of those ones we want to do here. And then we're going to hold on to what's left of our authority. We're going to lose a little bit when we have to ban opium to get through the opium crisis. But we're going to use the rest of it immediately for passing laws fairly quickly. As far as law changes, we're going to rearrange the government to bring in the armed forces and the petite bourgeoisie. And we're going to move to pick up dedicated police here. You could probably not do dedicated police right at the beginning. The main benefit here of doing dedicated police is that the scholar officials don't like no policing. So every once in a while, they'll come and ask you to swap it to local policing. If you've already given them dedicated policing, they won't ask you for that. They'd still prefer local policing, but we don't really want local policing. The main reason to go local policing is if you wanted to empower the scholar officials, which maybe, depending on what you're doing, you might want to do. But we really don't want to do that, I think, in the long run. We'll just take the dedicated policing here, which is a little bit better in the fact that it can get all the way to Tier 5. I think local policing can only up to Tier 3. So that's our law, that's our building queue, that's our decrees. From a declare interest standpoint, we're going to move our declare interests. We start with 2 already assigned, 1 into Indochina, 1 in Japan. When the opium crisis starts up, that'll drop to 1, and it'll drop one of them. Because it's going to drop to 1, we want to be very picky with where that one is. And we're going to go ahead and drop that in Grand Columbia. That way we can do diplomacy with France and Great Britain. And the way we're going to play the crisis off is we're going to play France off of Great Britain. So right now, we can do a little bit of diplomacy with Great Britain because we had an interest in Indochina. And I'm just going to give them something. But even if they ask for a little bit of money back. No, we'll just give them the trade privileges. They'll take the trade privileges for nothing, so that's fine. This is kind of me being trying to be a little bit mean to them, because I know they'll break the treaty in a couple weeks. So they'll take the penalties from breaking a treaty. Once our new declared interests come into effect, we're going to improve relations with France, which will swing them from disinterested to protective, and then we'll use that to swing into a defensive alliance. In the meantime, we will improve a little bit with Great Britain. It's not going to be enough to stop the crisis from them joining in on the crisis, but we'll start doing that. Troop-wise, at least on my test game, the British did come for us, so we probably do want to take the time early on here to merge up the armies. There's definitely different ways you could do it. You could potentially run generals in all these armies, have a lot of lower-level generals, if you were willing to do more micro than I am. I'm less of a fan of the military micro in Victoria 3, so I'm going to run 3 condensed armies, basically 1 expeditionary and 2 garrison armies. The garrison armies are going to be large because they're big garrison. And then to command these armies, we are going to basically promote in the bigger army, all the generals to level 5, and in the smaller army, 2 of the generals to 5. Oh, we got a military guy. So one thing we will try to do early game is try to empower the armed forces. If we can get the armed forces both happy, so we get a newly created army active, and powerful, that will save us a lot of money on the military. We may not succeed at that. We may have to just roll with the normal one, the normal level newly created army. Because I suspect, in my experience, that I will at least be able to get them happy. The question is whether or not I'll be able to get them powerful. I'm going to merge 2 fleets. There may be an argument that you could have to, you want to keep them separate. Doubly so, I suppose, if you wanted to do more expeditionary stuff. I tend to find, well, I haven't played as much on 1.9. The discoupling of trade and convoys, in theory, makes it a little bit more viable to do more naval stuff as the Great Qing. One of the problems I'd run into in the previous patch, in 1.8, is it was very hard to do expeditionary stuff because these large these large armies take up a lot of convoys, and China did not quite have that many. But in the patch, now that we've got convoys separate, it's a little bit more plausible to get enough convoys that you can actually deploy the entire army abroad. We're not going to be doing that anytime soon, but that is a possibility. And then we are going to set these armies up with some conscripts. The larger one's going to get 550 conscripts. The smaller one will get everything else, is basically the plan here. Right now we are on irregular infantry, so raising troops just costs a lot of food. So other than the fact we're going to be penalized from being on from the Opium crisis, we can field very, very large armies. And even once we're on proper troops that use guns, we're going to be able to field quite a lot of troops. So we've got that queued up. We got the troops prepared. Anything else I'm missing? Got you going. I'm gonna hold on to the authority for advancing the first couple laws fairly quickly. Budget, as we need more budget, we'll probably move over to medium taxes. And then once we're past the opium crisis, we'll probably temporarily go up to very high taxes to try to very rapidly build up the economy. Versus 1.8, land taxes has lost its income tax effect, so we'll be a little more tempted to try to get off of land taxes a lot sooner. But right now it's a little too early. If we go look at the costs here, we're still losing like 50k swapping to per capita and like 100 something to go for the proportional. Get tech sorted out. And I'm improving relations with the British. Okay. I think we're ready to move time a little bit. Here's the opium crisis popping up. We are going to wait a moment for the interest in activate, so we can do our deal with France. Oh, first I do need to improve relations with France. Oh, France is already protected of us. We'll give it a 1-week cycle. Just make sure they stay that way. We're going to pass a defensive pact here. And now the question here is, how are we going to preferably pay for this? Depending upon what we do, worst case scenario, what we'll do is we'll give them a treaty port, because it's plus 100 bonus for giving a treaty port out. And that will mostly offset the cost here. I'm going to take a moment, because this is a little bit RNG of what they want, to see if we can source it without giving them a treaty port. But if we do give them a treaty port, we're going to kind of be mean to the British. Instead of giving the British Hong Kong, we're going to give it to the French, because the French don't break the opium crisis. So let's see, what do we have? Good transfer. We could do Man of Wars, which isn't going to be enough. Do money transfer. We can only get up to 73 on the money transfer. And an obligation. They actually want to give us military assistance, so we can do that. Oh, they want guns. How much do they want guns? Get a plus 10 from guns. Okay, this might be plausible to do. They want to sell me anything? No. I suppose we can do Man of Wars as well. Man of Wars is 1, 1, or 1. Okay, so they're probably not going to accept that. It's a 52% chance of success. I could give them investment rights. Let's see what investment rights will do. I'll bring us up to 70%. That's at least enough for good enough for a roll on it. So let's send the proposal, and we'll see if they accept. No. Okay, so we are going to have to give them. Pop the defensive pact again, and we're going to have to give them a treaty port. So we'll give them Hong Kong, one obligation, and then. I need to put a little bit more on the thing. There we go. And then that will be 100%. Okay, that'll work. There we go. So we now have a defensive pact with the French. Which is probably all we need to win the Opium War. So we're going to have to say, we're going to do the first one. We're going to say we have to do something. We obviously don't want an opium epidemic. We want to get it under control. And then as part of that, we immediately turn around and ban the opium. And we can see any of the British goes down, and the British break that declaration. Which is me being a little bit vindictive, but what that does also apply to the British is they now have a untrustworthy country of -5% infamy for the next 9 years. Now, okay, I should pay a little bit of attention because we're going to start flying through some weeks here while waiting for the British to start the war. But I'm going to pay attention to the construction queue here so we can move our decrees as we need to. So there we go. So there's dedicated police force complete. We're going to bolster the peasant movement because it has shown up. And for the moment, I can actually go ahead and just kick everyone out of government and enjoy our righteous government. Once, in a little bit, I'll go ahead and bring the rural folk in and try to move to homesteading once the peasant movement gets going. See them gaining quite a bit of power down there. Because they are newly formed. Radicals are going up. Waiting a little bit for the support to come up as well. Anyway, we're pretty much waiting around for the British to attack us while we're raising our income here. Okay, peasant movement's up to about 10% in 27, so let's go ahead and do a reform government to bring the rural folk kings. I don't think we can... Let me move to serfdom. Oh, it will let me move to serfdom. So let's start that. And then we can go ahead and do a reform, pull in the rural folk. That may have just kicked it up to 24%. There we go. A lot of the stall events for homesteading, well, I don't think it's necessarily the stall events for homesteading, I think it's actually the stall events for moving off of serfdom. Don't actually stall it in practice. So even though the odds look really bad here, we got 75% stall, we'll probably pass it and it won't be a problem. Probably. At least I haven't done it in any of the test games or any of the other games in the last couple patches runs. So. Okay, so Western Guangdong is done, or Beijing is done, so we're on Western Guangdong. We're going to move the road maintenance from Beijing to Shaanxi. And again, we're kind of waiting for the British to attack. Or Opium Crisis to time out, one of the two. We're getting told we're in convention. Since 1.9.2, they added a pre-existing treaty with the Japanese that where we give them tools and they give us lead. China has a tools problem at the beginning, so that didn't help. It's not a really good treaty. We'll mostly ignore it. If it goes into contravention, we don't really need the lead back from them. It's just reality. We got other things to deal with early on. So if you're wondering why we have a trade non-fulfillment effect coming up, that's what that is. And you can see we haven't even had any events related to homesteading. It's already on adoption. Purchasing emancipation. We'll just pick the option that is bad for the serfs, but good for getting it passed. I think that was a stall. To give you an idea of what events we're getting for it. Okay, we're done building Western Guangdong. So I'm going to move that road maintenance to High Bay. We probably do want to go ahead and raise up to medium taxes. The center's rank ranks. So this again this is a stall event. We rolled one of the bad rolls. Honestly, we should have expected to roll more by now, but we'll take it. It's always better when it's better than it should be than worse than you want it to be. So we're going to take the +5 here, which is going to make it even less likely to roll a stall. Rule folk protesting government. We're just going to tell them no here. We have enough legitimacy that we can just eat that. So, okay, we won't be righteous for a bit. So the law pass will slow down. It's fine. And homesteading zone. So at this point, I could actually pull back the authority I'm using here on the peasants movement, because we passed what we wanted to pass with them. We're not ready to move on to taxation. In theory, I'm not actually sure if they would help us with the taxation change that we want. No, we don't even have the laws for them to do the taxation change we want. So yeah, we'll go ahead and let's go ahead and stop bolstering them for the moment. We will continue to suppress the absolutist movement because the absolutist movement doesn't actually like the move to agrarianism. They probably won't contribute to stall because they won't have any activism, but they don't like it. So we're going to keep them suppressed just in case they do get some activism from some place. And weirdly, the British have not attacked us. End of a shrug. Test game, they attacked me. Last stream, they attacked me. The test game before the last stream, they didn't attack me, but so it's a little bit of RNG. Oh, we're on high base. We're done with Shaanxi, so we take the road maintenance off of there and move it to Yunnan. And then that'll be all our construction sectors. So we'll probably move on after that into building up a government administration. So we can be ready for actually taxing our people. We're going to move on to doing agrarianism. That's the next law we're going to do, but we need romanticism for it. We've actually been kind of passing laws a little too quickly, so I'm not ready with the next law. Another law we could do is we could do move on to National Guard. And I probably would have done it had the armed forces or the petite bourgeoisie ask for it when they were in government. But right now we're gonna, because they didn't ask for it, we're not gonna pass it. Because unlike them who want that law, the scholar officials don't actually care about that. So we're not gonna have a request for that anytime soon if they're not in government. And they're not in government. That reminds me, this is one thing I forgot to do. By default, the trade centers aren't subsidized, and the ports and trade centers are not being privatized. We'll set those privatizing. And then the other thing I should do, a building registry. We probably don't want to hold on to anything, so we'll just set everything to privatize. Everything that can be privatized should be privatized. Coming up on the end of the high bay queue. Waiting for Opium Crisis to pass and or to get attacked. If the British attack us and we fight them off, then they can't stop the Opium Crisis as long as we have enough time to complete it within the time period. Okay, so we are done with High Bay. So from there we move to Beijing. Okay, after that we're going to move to Nanjing from Yunnan. And I probably need to queue up some more government admin. So Shenzhou. Put 8 there. If you basically just see, I'm basically saying all the places. We have economy scale right now up to 20. So any place where I don't think going up to 20 is going to put us surplus on taxation capacity is getting prioritized. So that's what's going on there. It's not super fancy anything. Okay, so we finished Beijing, so we want to move the Beijing one to the new place we're going to be constructing. Opium smugglers. We'll sort of poke the tiger a little bit, getting a little bit more authority. At this point, I probably have enough authority. I should go ahead and raise a tax. Most efficient tax is opium, so we'll raise it on opium. And then liquor. We'll probably take the liquor back one when we move on to doing the next law pass, which will be a couple weeks. Okay, we need something else to build. And then this will be also remove the construction. Oh, we have the sugar for this. Yeah, I haven't been through the changes with the string tech as much. Yeah, so at some point we do want more tools when we get the logging camps and stuff like working. So there's lots of stuff to do to improve the economy here. I'm looking for the video killer. There's the one. Remove the... Yes. And that was romanticism passing, so let's grab stock exchange. And we still have them in government, so we can go ahead and do the swing over to grainism. Nope, no one opposes grainism, that's good. And then let's take the reduction, the revenue for a bit by taking that tax off. Once grainism's passed, we're basically going to pile all the authority here into taxes. Grainism is also the lasting for at least a little while that's going to cause our bureaucracy costs to rise. Though it will be a pretty big effect still. Can I just place the 10 stack? Maybe. That makes sense. And the British still haven't attacked us, which I'm still somewhat surprised about. I was all prepared to fight the British off using the French. And probably because I'm prepared, the RNG decides today we're not going to be streaming that. Okay, so we need to do, again, more government admin. We're getting pretty close to the point where if we weren't working on agrarianism, we'd have enough administration. But we are going to continue building up because we know that the administration is going to go down under agrarianism as well. Guangdong. Guangdong. Okay, so we're positive bureaucracy, so if we weren't expecting it to go down immediately from the agrarianism kicking in, we'd stop building. I think we need about 3,000 more to cover agrarianism. That's where we are. Or is it, yeah, that is where we are. Next. Let's go to the scholar officials. With their support, the bill will pass. Yeah, we'll do that. That works fine. Next round of government admin. Oh, we're running a little bit of credit. Okay, so I'm going to preemptively go here and raise up to very high taxes. Apparently that's not even enough to get positive. Interesting. Do I go a little bit more desperate? Sure. Sure. Got to... These are maintenance out? Yeah. Okay. Let's raise some taxes then. Liquor... So we'll accept that grain is going to go a little bit slower. Try to solve the taxation effect. Not enough. There we go. Start to work the credit down. Yeah, I think one more location. So Fujian here will be the last one where we do government admin for the bit. And then after that, we're probably going to want to build the ports. Okay, and trade centers. And we still want to monitor and make sure we move the road maintenance around as ideal. Okay, optimally... Oh, I see how I want to do this optimally. Okay, so I didn't move these to the bottom for the moment. Here we go. Oops. One of the Beijing ports got moved to the wrong place, that's fine. And I'm going to just temporarily display another one in Beijing. We got the authority. We'll slow the agrarianism down a little bit, but it'll be fine. And there we go. So we're done in Fujian, so we take that back. As soon as the two high bay ports are done, we can move it down to Western Guangdong. There's stock exchange and the market access. Over to mandatory service, and we actually got a lucky spread here at Swing mandatory service. Actually, no. Over to colonization. Got a lucky spread here at Swing mandatory service over PAL steamer. Most of my test games is actually done the other one. It's in PAL steamer first, which slows down getting to line infantry. Okay. High bay 1 is done. Okay, we're back in positive reserves, so I'm going to pull the taxes off. Yeah. To pass agrarianism a little bit faster. Yeah, at this point I don't think... I'm probably jinxing myself saying this, but I don't think we're going to get attacked by the British because they should have done it by now. Let's be fair. Oh, there's the claim. Here comes the British. Demanding that we give them a treaty port, which will break the European crisis. We have to decline. Starts the Diplopy. we're going to go ahead and obviously in response to that, mobilize all the banners. So here be the war I was expecting. Okay, we get into the escalation phase. The Justice Grain isn't finished, so we can get some taxes going. That'll be good. We want to bring in the French, so we're going to sway with a coal ally. Budget-wise. Obviously, we need to fund the military if we're going to war. That probably makes sense. Need to fund the military for a war. Apparently I overestimated... Well, it may have not kicked in yet. Give it a moment for... No, let's do that. Bring them up to 5. That'll get us the middle managers. And then our 640 here needs to be spent on taxes. Services, liquor, tea, luxury furniture, luxury clothes. Oh, and I don't need to suppress the absolutism movement anymore. Stop suppressing you. Get 2 more taxes. Oh no, not get 2 more taxes, get a fruit tax. And then we're going to wait to get that. So France has sided with us. So in preparation for making this work, we're going to go ahead and deploy our expeditionary force over here in Guyana. Over in Grand Columbia. And we're going to send our tiny fleet over there. And we're going to add as a war goal that we want British Guiana. There we go. So that should be a agreeable set of war goals for passing and winning this war for us. You can see our income has shot up. One of the negative effects on traditionalism is minus 25% taxation capacity. So clearing that has significantly raised our taxes. So we're making even more money. We're going to kind of internalize that for the moment and not turn around and try to spend it. Well, we'll spend some of it because we're going to probably want to build up our university system, which is reminding me that I should queue that up. Oh, interesting. Why do we have build ports there? Why did the ports not kick in? Why aren't you subsidized? I thought I subsidized you. Go in there and make sure the subsidies are applied. Apparently the subsidies aren't applied. Okay. That should fix it then. So we're going to put 20 universities in Beijing. In theory, I put in a port there, so we'll have the logistics or infrastructure to support that. That'll bring us up to just below the innovation cap for us right now. We're pretty heavily penalized on spread, so we're not going to worry too much about spreading into spread, at least until we fix some of the other laws. Troops go off to their positions. Garrisons are ready. We wait for the war to start. Okay. Unlike my test, where I was running this at speed 5, for the war I'm actually going down to speed 4. So I can be a little bit more micro-intensive here. The guys that we sent out there are not actually quite there yet, but they don't need to be because they're going to immediately set out again. Go ahead and prime a naval invasion. And if we go over there and look, you'll be able to see that that goes off splendidly. Because there's no one guarding the place that we're taking over. And once we take that over, we'll have all our war objectives. Grand invasion, 1 day, landing beginning. Now we're being landed, which is kind of expected. Can you take me over there, please? That's not there. Okay. Okay. Trying to land Beijing. Let's go ahead. Set our army on... Do you have to wait until the front forms? I probably do have to wait until the front forms. No, I can add an army here. Oh no, I have to wait until the front forms. So I have to wait until I get there. So I'll have to pay attention a little bit. I'm selecting the army, doing the other thing, so we can pay attention to both of them at the same time is what's going on here. If you're wondering what I'm doing. Okay, they finished. They're going off to the West Indies, which is where we want them to go. That's fine. The fleet, I want... Well, actually, the fleet's fine where it is as well. So we're going to do West Indies as the next landing, take that over, and then we're going to have it go land Singapore. Oh, I see what happened. That's why I was... So this is why the British didn't attack us. This happened the last stream, which is the British spent time getting a protectorate that they could force into the war, instead of coming straight to war with me. So they've got a front with us. That's not a problem. It's just annoying. Just annoying. That's all it is. It's not going to be a problem. We'll be able to easily take them down to the negative point. As is. Again, I have this army selected because it's an army that we need to vaguely pay attention to. We can know this army's done with what it's doing because it will say it's not on the West Indies front anymore, rather because it's going off to a different front. Again, there's no opposition here, so it'll quickly win. Okay, there's the enemy army showing up. There's the navy. Okay, so it's saying it's going to the Indian Ocean Territory front. There happens to be a French treaty port here on India. It's trying to go and reinforce that front. We don't want it to. We're actually going to redirect it to do a naval landing in Singapore. Bring the fleet, please. Okay, so their armies arrived. The front has formed, so we can go ahead and assign our army to the front to stall, because that is kind of the point of our army. And we're not too worried if they successfully land. That's actually what our expeditionary army is going to do after Singapore, is it's going to backland whatever landing spots worked for them. And they are taking down about 2 war support a month. Or no, not a month, a week. 2% to a week. And they'll pretty much give us everything we want after they go negative a little bit. Okay, guys arrived. Stuck on the border. We'll give them a moment. They'll land. And it looks like they'll finish around about the time it's perfect to go backland the British landing. Oh, they might actually be a little bit quick. Yeah, they were a little quick. Okay, we're going to send the red banner then to garrison that HQ and the fleet to garrison that HQ. So they're in the right position after the landing succeeds. The landing may not succeed because we do see that the French are trying to interdict the British fleet. I don't think they'll succeed at the interdiction. The British fleet is the British fleet. Okay, so at this point we actually want that naval engagement to end, because then the fleets will move out. Because then it's not guarding the landing anymore. There we go. So with that, we can go ahead and backland the British landing. And as long as we win their engagement before they win their engagement, they'll get shoved back into the ocean because they'll lose the one province they landed at. Okay, and I should go ahead and queue up some more buildings. What do we want to queue up? Some tools? Probably some tools. For the moment, we'll deal with the tool the severe tool shortage. Then we'll probably be over onto paper. Yeah. Building next. We're going to build 3 tooling workshops. And I'll actually go ahead and build, back behind that, build the 3 things of iron to supply those tool shops. Here we go. And the fleet of port before it gets shot up by the British, attempting a counterattack. We can't drop below 0 while they don't control all their objectives. The British can, so we have a decent possibility of winning this. Okay, so at this point the British would accept white peace. The French won't, so we have to at least negotiate for something, as the French will not agree. They'd accept us giving just money. Ideally, we'd actually want to push for this. We'll play it slow and carefully, because this is what we want. The British are probably going to come around to this. but we do need to be on the lookout, because if they do successfully land us, then we'll take white peas. That's basically how that works. It's in our interest that we get this, because this will allow us to maintain diplomacy with the French while moving our interests elsewhere. Okay, I think it is time to move on to paper. I suppose for a lot of places, we now probably want like 5 paper factories. So that includes Beijing, which we'll do. Maybe it's not the ideal time to be building in Beijing, because it's all damaged from the invasion, but we'll do that. So 2 of you in Beijing, and then 5 paper mills. We'll wake you up. Could probably get a little bit more because we've got the universities there. They're also eating paper. How much do you eat per level? Okay, put another 2 then. So we'll do another port and another paper maker. Kind of don't want to overbuild paper, but at the same time, because we're going to eventually upgrade the paper into the next paper tech, but we don't have that tech yet. So paper is expensive. We want to fix that, but at the same time, we don't want to overfix it, and then we can't apply. Where's the tech? In mechanical cooling here, we have sulfide pipe pulping, so we don't want to overcommit before we get sulfide pulping. The other thing is I might leave the money on the table. Okay. That's probably what we'll do if it looks like the war's about to turn sour, is we'll take the territory and leave them the money. Okay, there is a naval landing coming. Where is this naval landing? Formosa. Okay, we can let them do that. We'll just back invade them once they leave the island. Apparently we have a well, for a moment there we had a clipper shortage. Might look into building some more clippers. I think we're paying extra to build. Oh no! Oh no, we're in Shaanxi, so Shaanxi isn't paying extra. Just underestimating how much we can build simultaneously is what's going on. To be fair, the tooling workshops take a lot more construction to build, so they just take a little bit longer to than I'm used to with the rest of the other stuff this run. Also, just running slower because we're fighting war and being on high alert. Okay, honestly, in this situation, I just realized Indian Navy's not very big. Go forth, Navy. This is a fight I think you might actually be able to win. Okay, and we can peace out anyway. There you go. Thank you, GB. Oh, City of Plenty. And that's, I think, where we're going to go ahead and put the part break. So, at this point, we will succeed at the Opium Crisis. It's got about 7 months remaining. We'll get through those in the next part. That'll kind of go hand in hand how I show you how I'm going to set ourselves up to gain recognition. Basically finish the Opium Crisis. Technically, we'll actually start the process of getting recognition to, well, multiple months before we get the Open Crisis done. But that's what we're going to be working on in the next episode. The Open Crisis will finish. We'll move on to getting recognition. I think it's part of recognition. We're going to try to take the Russian Eastern Seaboard. We'll see if we get recognition before that or not, because we'll actually start ticking recognition, whereas the attack to take the Russian seaboard is going to be held up behind line infantry. So with that, if you're watching on YouTube, there'll be a part up tomorrow. If you're watching on Twitch, I'm going to take a short break here to check up on the family, and I'll be back in a short bit once I'm done with that checkup on the family. And that's what we'll get back to, is we'll get back to achieving recognition. So until the next part, wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next part and or the next stream. And with that, for now.